Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell, share it with your friends, all that good stuff does really help out the channel. Of course, you can support the channel further if you want to become a member, exclusive perks there, and members only videos if you are interested. But as always guys, hope everyone is doing good. What's up Jose? Hope you're doing good, tuned on. Nice to have you on the stream. Jeremy, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Amos, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I'm doing good. Hope you're well. Big up to yourself. Jeremy, yes, I am here. Tashi, good morning. Hope you are well. So as always, guys, we'll go through the USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold and silver. If you do have any requests, drop it in the chat. And we shall take a look. Of course, any particular time frames, let me know. Most of the time I'm on the 4-hour chart, but if you are looking slightly higher or slightly lower, want me to give my opinion, drop it in the chat and we shall discuss. But first thing is first, we shall take a look at the dollar, which was pretty eventful yesterday, actually. We did see a lot of strength for USD, and of course, the USD pairs reacted accordingly, which is why I wasn't really getting too carried away with that momentum on Friday. Of course, exceptionally, big candle, breaking through floors, coming into, showing a lot of momentum, but we did simply reject support there. So despite that momentum, there was no signs of continuation. So I was not going to get carried away with that candle unless price did show evidence of breaking through the floor. Then yeah, I would be pretty bearish with USD, expecting us to come back and test the lows here. But that's not happened. Price did respect support pretty well. We've seen convincing momentum on the way up. Now to me, this looks like pretty much a range. We've got more or less equal highs around here. Of course, more or less equal lows down there. So this is a bit of a range here. You can probably just box all of this off and chalk it to consolidation. There is still that possibility that we are putting high lows in, one over there, second, and perhaps price is putting a third one in. For that to be the outcome, I do want to see evidence of price breaking to the upside through this area, because of course, if we look to our left, this is a pretty significant level of resistance, which of course did give us this huge reaction to the downside. Of course, the news did aid that, but essentially price came back to resistance and respected it very aggressively. So a break of that, basically breaking out of this range, will really show us that the buyers are back in control of the market. Then the probability of us returning back to the highs here would be very, very high at that point. So whether you're looking to buy in the breakout, look for some intraday pullbacks, that would be a very nice opportunity to get our hands on if we do break to the upside and clear roughly 98, 99 area. So that's really what I'm waiting for on the dollar, because whilst price is in this range, anything can happen. We're looking pretty bullish at the moment, but we might respect resistance and come back down again. So I'm not going to get too carried away either with this bullish momentum, because we're still trapped. The bearish momentum, which came into support, respected it. Bullish momentum, we're pushing back to resistance. There's so far no breakouts yet. And of course, the shorts still stand and still are valid. If price was to suddenly push the downside, break through the floor there, we're looking really bearish at that point. Looking at lower highs on the way down to go and take out these lows. After all, the higher time frame trend is still bearish, so that still does have like a natural, still does have, price still does have a natural tendency to follow the trend. So, arguably the push lower, a push back to these lows is still a slightly higher probability move than price reversing to the upside. But as of yet, we're just in the range. So unless you're looking to trade within that range, sell high, buy low, sure, there's some opportunities to keep in mind. But if you're looking for a swing trade or you're just looking to follow momentum and follow trends, you're kind of waiting for price to break the highs or break the lows. Inside of here, it can get quite messy. So yeah, quite a lot of indecision on the dollar, but key takeaway is that price is respecting support, and that's the same situation with euro. Prices respecting resistance. We came back to the highs this week, or last week I should say, with that bullish candle. Came back into the highs, aggressively respected it. Let me actually make sure I've got the right mic on. Aggressively respected the highs, and now we've got the lows here, which price again is aggressively respecting as well. Price came into that level just before the news came in last week, pushed in really aggressively. Then of course after news we respected the highs on Monday and came back down. So we've got another consolidation range here for euro as well, as price is respecting this area of supply. I still do have a slight bearish bias for euro. We still do have these lower highs, 1, 2, perhaps a third one. We still got this counter trend line at play, rejecting price. If price does see a significant break through this floor here, that puts me very bearish for euro, and at that point I'm looking for us to come back and test the lows here. So again, breakout opportunities look good, or again looking for pullback opportunities. Perhaps a retest of that level would be nice, or some pullbacks along the way. That could be a nice opportunity there to take some shorts. And likewise, the longs are still in play as well. Should price break to the upside through here, well, we're probably looking at price trending to the upside. Probably taking out these highs and just continuing that trend we've seen throughout most of the year. So the biggest takeaway for euro as well, similar to DXY, is indecision. Respecting highs, respecting lows. We haven't really seen any momentum sustain in a particular direction. We've just rallied up, we've rallied back down. No bull or bears really taking control right now. So until we do break the floor or break the ceiling, it's just going to be back and forth. So there could still be some nice longs coming to this area to take advantage of that bounce. Likewise with the highs there as well. But again, if you're looking for trending opportunities, pullback opportunities, breakout opportunities, you really want to see price clear the highs here and clear the lows there. Not only will you find those conditions for those particular type of trades, but also direction becomes a lot clearer. Once price does take this low out, well, it's a pretty safe bet that price will probably come back down and test that low again, as long as we don't fake out, of course. If we do, then price will likely rally, and same thing with the highs as well. But for now, just a lot of indecision. Pound USD, a lot of indecision as well. We kind of spotted that coming into the week. Price is kind of flat. We've got equal lows here, equal highs there. And the market is quite flat in my opinion. So with pound USD, until we kind of break through this floor here or break through the highs there, I don't really have much to say about pound. And unless you're again looking to buy off the lows or looking to sell off the highs, there could be some opportunities there. But similar to euro, if we do crack the floor, well, where's price going to go? The most obvious place would be back to the lows here. So again, opportunities on a breakout or opportunities on a retest or a pullback somewhere will look really good on the way down. Likewise to the upside, if you do clear the resistance here, well, that's probably the next place price is going to end up at. So again, breakout opportunities, pullback opportunities is what you're going to be looking at. It really depends what your type of your trade you're after, really. Do you take a lot of mean reversion, or do you look for trend falling opportunities, or potentially both as well? Depending on what you're after, you're either waiting for breakouts and pullbacks, or you're trying to call the lows here and buy the dips at support and call the tops at resistance. So it really depends what you're after for pound. But in here, indecision, once we break out, hopefully we start to see some trending environments there for pound. And it's pretty much the same across the board for a lot of the USD pairs. DXY is going to set the tone with that consolidation, and you're kind of seeing that across the board for a lot of USD pairs. Dollar CAD, another one which I said I'm not the biggest fan of buys at this area, just because of how slow prices, how quick price has been. We had a really aggressive push down, so that kind of put me off the buys. I don't really want to go against that momentum, and to be honest, we've seen a very sluggish push to the upside anyway. So yeah, that's the main reason which I didn't want to go long. If this was slower, then yeah, this could be a nice place for a buy to take price up again. But again, how price gets there is just as important in terms of how price reacts with an area as well. So I did say shorts from here, yes, they look really good. I still agree. Of course, we're nowhere near there. but that would be a nice place to short. If I expand to the weekly chart, you can see there's a major level of resistance running through the market here. I think that's still a very significant level for a short. I think long-term dollar CAD has a very good chance of doing something like this, which could provide some really nice sell opportunities in the next coming days, coming weeks even. So I would keep a close eye on that. But in terms of an opportunity for dollar CAD, this is the best I can see. Kind of like a 3 drive pattern, 1, 2, 3, and then potentially we get our sell there. As of anything here, I'm not too interested. Look quite corrective to me, so I'm not a fan of the buys just yet, but something like that I can get behind. Aussie dollar, probably my least favorite USD pair. All I've said for this one is just look to buy low or sell high, really, because this looks like a ranging market to me. We had the ascending channel, which price, of course, broke out of, but we haven't really seen the momentum that typically you would see after a breakout of a channel. Normally, price would break out or really start to melt. We had the signs of that, but then we had this correction. We tried to sell off respect to the lows aggressively, so we are really flat right now. So the best places to get involved in opportunities, again, would be looking to sell highs and buy lows, waiting for price to approach resistance, major resistance like this level here at 0.655, and looking for rejection and opportunities to short there, or of course waiting for price to approach support again and looking for longs. But the key takeaway is don't try and get involved in the middle. If you are, you want to be in and out pretty quickly, because that's where the fluctuation is going to happen, and it's just not the best place to sit and hold a position. If you're looking for a more sensible place to short, I would suggest up at the highs or again at the lows. Again, keeping it simple. You don't want to overcomplicate things, especially when price action is choppy as this. There's no kind of clear-cut direction there with Aussie. It is very, very flat. So I would recommend selling at highs or, of course, buying at lows. Wouldn't really try to get involved with where we are right now. New Zealand dollar, this one as well. Looking for a bigger move to the upside. I like the shorts over here. Of course, pretty consistent lower highs, 1, 2, 3. Perhaps we could form a fourth coming into that area. And again, that will continue the swing to the downside. If, of course, we do see a breakout, that could insinuate a move back to highs. We can speak about that if it does happen at some point, but we're still far away. I still think buying opportunities make a lot of sense down here. Let's say price was to push down and form somewhat of a double bottom. I think that's still a very sensible place for a buy. And then, of course, equally, if you're looking for shorts, I would wait for price to push back to the high end of the channel. Again, just looking to play the low and high of the channel. A descending channel or ascending channel is essentially a range just slanted. So you don't want to overcomplicate things and try and get involved in the middle. That's where a lot of the noise is, and that's probably where you probably give back a lot of your profits. Trying to get involved at the lows here. The highs are the best places. Not to say that you win every trade, but that's where things have become a lot easier to interpret and actually place positions of, whether you're looking for breakouts or reversals at those areas. So again, back to the low for a buy, or we push to the highs again. I think that'll be a smart place for a short. In terms of gold, so gold, a little bit of hit and miss yesterday. I was talking about some buying opportunities intraday. I wasn't really the biggest fan of them, but I think we did have some news, didn't we? Let me just get rid of that so we can see it better. Yeah, we did have some news, and we did wick into that area there. It would probably be a difficult trade to take unless you're really kind of switched on and just entering basically just before the news came out. But really aggressive push down. Was that? Yeah, that was midnight as well, so it's not even in session. Well, it's coming to the Asian session anyway. But yeah, we did tap into that area, really aggressive reaction to the upside. So unless you're trading Asian session and you were very quick to the trade as well, it was very, very difficult to catch that one. But congrats if you did. Really nice retest and continuation. And of course, it looks like we're seeing perhaps the continuation of the momentum from Friday. Really aggressive bullish candle, kind of breaking out of this descending channel. And looks like we might be seeing a continuation back to highs. Again, my take for gold is still we're very much in a range. This is the areas I want to get involved in. Back at the highs, 34.30 roughly, or back down at 32.60. That's really where I want to position myself if I'm looking for a buy or a sell, especially from a swing bias. You know, swing trading, a big component of swing trading is position yourself well. If you're trying to catch a swing, You don't want to be entering the market too late because, of course, the bulk of the swing has happened. You want to be near to the area which price is going to turn from. Of course, you don't want to necessarily pick the point exactly because you probably take a lot of losing positions. But as price starts to turn, that's really where you want to be getting involved. And of course, if you're trading a ranging market, where's the point price is most likely to turn? Well, at the highs and at the lows. So that's really where I want to position myself for swing positions. Again, I think intraday, if gold does start to rally, there might be some opportunities and some pullbacks on the way up. But again, I'll be very much intraday, keeping it short and sweet with those trades. In terms of silver as well, this one is looking remotely bullish as well. Haven't really seen the pullback, which I mentioned yesterday. I talked about a pullback to this area for a buy. Similar setup to gold, really. Nice consolidation, really strong break to the upside. This could be a smart place for a buy, push back to highs, and then a push back to the high there. After all, if you do look at the higher time frames for silver, we are still very much in an uptrend. And especially with the momentum we saw last week, it still looks relatively healthy. Looks like we faked the downside here, taking out these lows, and now we're seeing the real momentum step in. So I still think this is a great place for a buy. Whether we get there or not, that's a different question. But if I was looking to buy silver, especially intraday, this is where I'll be looking to try and take my buys, perhaps like an hourly chart or a 30-minute chart, and see if I can trade it back to the highs there. And if I'm lucky, maybe hold some positions to run all the way back to the highs at 39.486 as well. So yeah, silver pretty bullish on, gold pretty bullish on as of now. I would suggest this is probably the best opportunity about, because gold looks like it's kind of already underway, but silver pullbacks to 38.2 do make some sense to me. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Very, very mixed bag, I'm not going to lie. A lot of indecision. So until we kind of make a move outside of that, I'm not going to get too carried away with USD strength or weakness. Like I said, the DXY trap between resistance and support, we could fluctuate up and down, within that range there. I don't want to get too carried away with price pushing up or price pushing down until we show signs of this or this. That's when, okay, I would actually have a fixed bias and look for opportunities in that favor, whichever way price does break. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD for now. Okay, just making sure my mic is connected to the right one. It looks like it is. Okay, so yeah, that's where I'm at with USD. Where was I? Tashi did say good morning. I think I did. Jeremy, dollar yen. Yes, we can take a look. No problem. Euro yen, Leslie, we can take a look as well. Would I give signal? Depends if there's a trade. I will share any positions. I am in an Aussie position at the moment. If I do get into a new position, I'll let you guys know. Jason, what is up, my man? I hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. What's up, Dimar? Hope you are doing good. So we're going to go through our perps trading platform, and then we'll go through some requests. So if you do have any pairs you do want me to take a look at, make sure you do leave in the chat, and I'll take a look. And of course, any particular time frames as well, let me know as well so I can take a look at them. But if you haven't checked out our perps trading platform, make sure you go do so. I have left a link to the platform itself in the description below. But this is the platform itself, which again allows you to trade perps, again directly from your crypto wallet. If you have any Solana or Ethereum wallet, you can connect directly to the platform and begin trading straight away. One of the advantages of this platform, like maybe other brokers on centralized exchanges, is that of course you have to request for payouts. There's payout delays. With this platform, you connect, all settlements are done instantly. You can withdraw your payouts pretty much as soon as you close your trade. So there's no requesting needed. It's simply just withdrawing your profits as fast as possible. So a lot of reliability with it. And at the moment, you can only trade cryptocurrencies, but the benefit of trading cryptocurrencies here as well is that there are no swap costs. If you are going to hold on a CFD brokerage, you're going to have to pay swaps, overnight interest fees to hold that same cryptocurrency overnight. The beauty of this, there is none of that. So it's just, in terms of cost effectiveness, it's actually cheaper to trade cryptocurrencies on a platform like this, on this perps trading platform, compared to trading on like a CFD brokerage as well. So if you are interested in trading crypto, I highly recommend to check out this platform. Like I said, I've left a link in the description, but even if you don't have a wallet, you can connect via email as well. But if you do have a Solana or Ethereum wallet, you can connect directly. And of course, like we do with CFD trading, speculate on price, buy, sell. You can take profit orders, stop loss orders, manage your positions as you normally would. And of course, there's a lot of cryptocurrencies to look at and choose from as well. And that does lead me on to the point that in the near future, we'll be looking to host a trading challenge. This challenge will roughly run for a month, and it will just be trading on a demo server and looking to reward the best traders out of the bunch. So if you are interested, let me know. Drop it in the chat, or we'll probably come out with a application, a Google form sheet which you can fill out and register and partake in. But yeah, it's a great way to kind of get involved with the platform. There's no risk involved. You're trading a demo server. All you're doing is testing out and having some fun at the same time. And if you perform pretty well, of course, you can get rewarded as well. So if you're interested, let me know about that. And like I said, we'll probably come out for Google form in the near future as well. So yeah, make sure you do check out. Again, link to the platforms is in the description below. What's up, Bashi? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I was just mentioning a trading competition that we're going to host on our Perps platform, which will last for about a month. And again, on a demo server as well, so there's no risk involved. But again, trying to introduce people to the platform, and one of the ways we're looking to do that is have some fun with a trading competition. The best trades will be rewarded. So if you are interested, especially if you like to trading cryptocurrencies, this is definitely a platform to check out. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it, Bashi. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are enjoying the channel. It does, and of course, join the stream. It does really help out. Share it with your friends. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And of course, drop any chats, any charts you're looking at. We shall take a look together. Okay, so I'll go through some yen pairs because I'm seeing a lot of yen pairs requested. I'm actually in a yen pair myself as well, so you can go take a look at that. Appreciate it, Bashi. Yeah, it's an interesting one, and again, check it out. We'll come up with more information regarding that very, very soon. But in terms of the yen pairs, we'll take a look at dollar yen first to start things off. Yeah, so dollar yen, all I'm seeing is a bit of a rangy market here. So it's not my favorite yen pair to trade right now. It is consolidating, and we'll look at the yen basket as well because that is actually consolidating too. So it kind of makes sense. But we're very, very choppy in this area. I still do like the buys further down, especially from this area of demand. There's a rough trend line connecting these higher lows. I do think if we can make a move towards that area, that is a smart place for a buy, where possibly we could catch the new higher lows. So you got one over there, second over there, potentially a third. This is a very kind of rough ascending channel. You can kind of see the equal highs to a degree over there, equal lows. Is this going to be our next high low? Possibly. Even if it isn't, this is probably an area which we can see a worthy reaction of actually trading. Even if price is going to just push halfway and then fall against us and reverse, there's still pips to profit on. We don't have to look for the home run for it to be a winning trade. Of course, that would be great if it does happen, but even if you do push halfway or even a quarter of the way, you can still walk away for a small win, which is still worthwhile. A win is a win, of course. But yeah, I like this area of demand. Really nice brief consolidation there, strong push-ups, a lot of momentum there. And of course, you've got that natural trendline confidence coming to play. And I kind of like it as well because there'll be a lot of buying and selling within this. And of course, there will be a lot of liquidity underneath these lows here. So if price can run through those, take out these lows, take out these lows, naturally that should help with a bounce from this area here as well. So especially if you do have a swing bias for dollar yen, 145 does tick a lot of boxes. Like I said, we may see a swing back to the higher of the range. We may go halfway and spill over. That'll come down to your management and in terms of targets as well. Maybe if you're looking for bigger risk reward positions, you might be looking for the big swing, or if you're just looking for a reaction off a key area, I think it makes perfect sense as well. But in this area, it's just ranging conditions. So unless you're looking to buy from support, sell for resistance, I don't see much opportunity here, to be honest, with dollar yen. Let's say if price was to push back into support, reject it some more. There could be some nice shorts there. We spoke about some shorts at resistance here. That could be a bit of a sell there. Could also, of course, be another bit of a sell there as well. So really, you're kind of just looking to sell, to position yourself high if you're shorting, or position yourself lower down if you're buying, and just looking to take mean reversion opportunities here. Any kind of breakout opportunities or trending opportunities, we need price to be trading outside of this range, because we're not going to get any of that inside of here, at least not any significant moves. So yeah, dollar yen trapped in the range there, kind of waiting for a push lower. Keep an eye on 145. I think that's a sensible place for a buy. As for euro yen, again, longer term, I'm still pretty bullish. It just depends what this one has in store. Does it want to pull back some more before we do trend higher, or is it ready to push through? I'm still looking for a push into 175 longer term. Of course, ever since we broke through the highs here, I've been very, very bullish on euro yen. I'm looking for a push into 175. At the moment, we've kind of got a bit of choppiness, consolidation, if you will, in this area. Price has been back and forth in that area. As I said yesterday, really kind of waiting to see if we can get a break to the upside. If we do, that will kind of insinuate the buys are back in play again. A strong break to the highs will say, okay, we're seeing some bullish structure now. We've got some strength with the buyers. Pullbacks and longs make the most sense, and we probably are going to push back to the highs at 175. If, of course, price does break to the downside here, then this, of course, will be our next key level of support. So either shorts on the breakout or some intraday pullbacks could make a lot of sense to trade back into the lows. And then we go from there. I can see a world where we put a double bottom in and then reverse. So there could be some nice buying opportunities here. We'll speak more about that once we're actually moving towards that area, because how we get there will play a big role as well. But yeah, a lot of consolidation here. Now, if I quickly go to the yen basket, you can see why. The yen basket itself, which is a collection of major currencies like euro, pound, dollar, Aussie against the yen. You know, if this is consolidating, that means you see a lot of consolidation in a lot of the yen major pairs, which is kind of what we're seeing at the moment. A lot of consolidation here, back and forth. There is somewhat of a trend line keeping us somewhat bearish. There is a bit of a bearish trend going on, of course. And the trend line has played a big part in that. But since like mid-July, we haven't really gone anywhere with dollar yen. This trend hasn't really shown sign of continuation. We're either getting ready to break to the upside and somewhat reverse this trend, or we're just consolidating to, you know, pick up some orders and then eventually continue lower. It's 50-50 at this point in time, and depending which way we break out, will kind of set the tone for the USD pairs. So with this consolidating at the moment, that's kind of why it looks quite messy with a lot of yen pairs for now, and why we're not really seeing much rejection. So I'll keep an eye on this, because once this starts to show signs of momentum, that's probably the sign to actually start looking to trade the yen pairs properly and looking for bigger swings. But we're very, very flat here. Difficult to say what the next move will be. There's some of a counter trend line here. I suppose if that can break well, maybe we do continue that weakness and the yen pairs do rally. We have to wait and see. I can see a world where we do break to the upside as well. So very, very 50-50 at the moment, and that kind of explains why you're seeing euro yen consolidate in this area, why you're seeing dollar yen consolidate as well, and some other yen pairs which we'll speak on in a moment. I'm still in Aussie yen longs, which I hopped in last Thursday. Looking okay. I have, of course, managed to trail stops to not break even yet, just slightly below that. My stops is trailed to where this arrow is, so 95.089, just underneath that low there. So very, very minimal risk on the position, at least compared to the original risk on the trade. The original stop loss was below the low there. We have seen some structure in my favor, so I have removed some of that risk, because at this point, if price does take a dive, I'd rather just take the small loss and then look for re-entries if we are still going to go up, rather than hold all that drawdown with the hopes that price is going to suddenly turn in my favor. I'd rather just look for a re-entry. So yeah, and a big part of this trade is this descending channel here. I've bought the low of the channel with the expectation that price is going to make a move to the high of the channel, which we're not quite there yet. and with the expectation that we're probably likely to break through as well. If this is like a big, bull flag pattern, I do expect to see continuations to the upside. So, I'm hoping we can see a breakout and I can start to trail beyond that. That'll be the best case scenario. But I will keep a close eye at that upper end, because there is very much can I delete? There we go. There's very much a possibility that price does push into the high of the channel and then just comes straight back down against me. So if I do see some rejection there, I may close the trade completely, or I may close a big chunk of the trade, depending how strong the market is looking at that particular area. And of course, if I'm seeing breakout signs, I may just hold the position and just continue with my trading stop loss. It depends on how price is reacting. But so far, we're looking relatively okay. A little bit corrective here, so that does worry me a little bit. I like to see a bit more strength on the way up. You can see last time we were quite corrective. What happened? We rejected the highs, came back down. So I do want to see some more strength from somewhere. Maybe if the yen basket gets going, that will help. But yeah, a lot of trading is just kind of reacting to what price is giving you. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that position. Again, relying on yen weakness to really get the ball rolling, but you can essentially see we are quite choppy here as well. If I take a look at pound yen, that's been very, very choppy too. I spoke about retest of the highs, retest of the lows. I think from a swing bias, especially in the 4-hour chart, these are the better places to get involved with in terms of just location in general, putting a safe stop loss. Anything in here can get quite choppy, especially intraday. Personally, I would stay away. But if you may be looking for like a quick short-term move, you might be able to get away with it, because there are like a lot of areas of support and resistance. We mentioned this area of support yesterday, which did provide a nice reaction. Again, I wouldn't be looking for like a home run from this area, just because of how we're moving. There's a lot of resistance above us. I wouldn't be looking for a massive move from that area there, to be honest. So if you are looking to trade GJ and similar pairs on lower time frames, and these are your conditions, my best advice is always look for those significant areas of support and resistance above the low, where a lot of the chaos is, and then look for the opportunities there. And again, probably don't look for big swings, and be prepared to close trades early as well. But yeah, yen pairs not really showing momentum right now, so difficult really to get some nice swing trades going. Of course, I say that whilst I'm in one, but yeah, we'll see how that trade does get going. Hey, nice, Jason. Good to hear. Again, there's no pressure in the challenge. It's just for fun as well. And of course, if you do perform well, you get rewarded too. So we'll have kind of more finalized details about the challenge very, very soon. But yeah, if you are interested, let me know. And we'll have some information in terms of how to set up and get started with that for the challenge. I'm scared to trade crypto in the 1 minute. I haven't traded crypto in the 1 minute before. But again, if you trade like BTC, some of the major cryptocurrencies, it won't be too different to FX. They will of course have some periods of being very volatile, which can be a benefit, to be honest. If you know what you're doing, you can make bigger percentage on a cryptocurrency than, say, pound USD, for example. But of course, if that goes against you, it will bite you twice as hard. KG, what's up? Yes, we can take a look at US 30 for you, no problem. Good morning, Yusuf. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. Welcome to the stream, my man. I'm doing good. Yusuf, thoughts on Euro and Pound USD buys at current level? Okay, we can take a look. No problemo. Can we get a free signal? Again, Jeremy, I don't just have signals coming out my sleeves, my man. Because if I did have a signal, I would be in it myself. So again, if I do find a trade, I'll let you guys know, but it's not like I just spit out signals like that. Again, I'll go through a bunch of charts, share some opportunities, some I'm looking at, some I'm not looking at. Stick around, you probably see some setups I'm eyeing up. But in terms of signal right now, if I did have one now, I will be trading it. Exactly, be reactive, adaptive, 100%. You don't want to be too stubborn. Stubborn's not good in trading at all. Yeah, we like USD rewards, Bashi, so potentially like $100, $200, for the best performing traders. But again, in terms of specifics, we're still finalizing that, so I'll let you know when that is all good to go. Spreads are well massive in crypto. I think depends who you're trading with on the Perks platform. It's not big at all. It be depending which brokerage or platforms you're trading with, but on the Perks platform, the spreads are very, very manageable. Angie, UNSD, M15, and the 4-hour. Okay, we can take a look at that as well. So I'll go through euro and pound for Yusuf. If I missed out okay, and US30 as well for KG. Then we take a look at UNSD as well. Okay, so US30. Let's take a look. So yeah, US30. I talked about some buys. This was actually the bonus pair on the weekly analysis over the weekend. I really like US30 because of the breakout we had last Friday. This is a very significant level of resistance at 45k. Big reaction, big reaction, big reaction. Very small one, but you can see we've had really meaningful downturns from this level. So the break of that level and the way we did it as well was very, very significant. As long as price doesn't break back below, this is a very much a valid breakout, and we're looking for continuations of this. If, of course, price does break below, then this just becomes a big fake out. That level becomes resistance again, and actually looking for pullbacks and a retest of that level as resistance again will actually be a nice place for a short to look for a swing back down. But as of now, that's not the case. So we'll see what price does here. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, we still do look relatively corrected. We have picked up momentum a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a warning how aggressive we've been. It's still relatively quite corrective on the way down. Now it's really important to see how we do reject this area. Can we form some more wicks, maybe a bit of consolidation, maybe a nice close, show momentum's coming back. That would be a nice entry in itself. Doesn't have to be that big per se, but at least some momentum, like confirming that, okay, the sellers here have kind of disappeared. We found support. We're seeing some bullish strength again. That for me would be a nice entry, at least for a push back to the high. We can be pretty confident price can get back there again, and then we'll see what we do after. This is all-time highs after all, so once price breaks through this high, we're kind of in no man's land. We don't really know how far price will go. I mean, I marked out 46k. It's a big psychological level. Maybe price gets there, maybe price doesn't. Maybe price rips through that. So beyond that point, yeah, we're going to probably just trail stops. I think that'd be the best way to manage it. Or of course you can get out of the position if you want to. But yeah, in terms of location for US30, really like what's going on. We've cleared major resistance, so all of this is now major support, potentially backing up the buys. As long as we don't start breaking below this, we're looking for a buy opportunity here. So for now, yeah, that's very much the focus. In terms of Euro USD and Pound USD buys, are you talking about the 15-minute Yusuf? I assume you are. I mean, of course, we are coming back to support here, so naturally buys do make sense. And as I said, it does look like the market is just ranging here. So I think buys do make sense, really. I like the way price is rejecting. We came in once, twice. Still seeing a lot of rejection, and we're seeing strength as well. Really big candle there. Seeing some strength as well. So I like what I see. This looks like a corrective channel here. So it looks to me that price is kind of squeezing. Can get ready for something like this to happen next, potentially. So yeah, I quite like the buys. In terms of entries, of course, I do want price to be back at that level of support again. So I wouldn't really want to be entering now, especially into that counter trend line. I would want to see price to come back into an area like this, like over here, like over there. So I can plot some entries as close as possible to that area, and then hopefully catch the breakout. Or if price is going to reject the trend line, I can potentially close the trade early, walk away for a small win maybe, or hopefully a big breakout in my favor. But yeah, I do think Euro USD buys make sense from probably not current price. I wouldn't look to buy at current price. Particularly from a 50-minute point of view, I would wait for another push down into this area. Because essentially, again, we're ranging. So the fact that we are back at the lows again is a great place for a buy. We've also got kind of an area of demand to look at as well. Of course, this is what kickstarted that massive move last week. Naturally, this is going to be providing an area of demand where price can find some buyers entering the market to take us higher. So yeah, buys do make sense here. Again, not looking for anything crazy. We are ranging, so best case scenario, maybe a push back to the high end of the range. It's still a pretty big move, especially if you're trading the 15. Of course, if support doesn't hold and we do break to the downside, that would make me pretty bearish on the pair and looking for a push to the low over there. But for now, still holding support, so buys do make a load of sense. In terms of pound USD as well, of course, very, very nice level prices been reacting of. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of buying pound. I know we've had a big impulse here, and potentially this could be the correction of that impulse, and our price might want to see a continuation. It's just because we're not really trading at any area of significance, and we're just in a ranging market right now. So that's just not the best place to be looking for continuation trades. I'd rather wait for price to actually approach support and then look for a buy there. I think we would just have a higher probability of that trade at least reacting for us rather than in this situation. Again, not to say that we don't make this rally. We don't have a continuation. It looks like price has, or not quite yet. Price is really corrective. It looks like we're having an impulse, potentially a big correction for another impulse. That could very much be the case. There's somewhat of a counter trend line here as well, a rough one anyway. So I can see the logic here for buys, especially if we were to come here again, but I'll just be very careful that we don't put another lower high in to come back down again. So I'll be watchful of that, especially if you can get a buy off the lows here. I think that would be a smart place to enter the market and then see if you can get it back into one of these highs. And then you go from there. Does price find resistance? Well, maybe I do close the trade early. Maybe if we're seeing some signs of a breakout, great. Maybe I can actually look to target the highs up here. But yeah, conditions aren't great. They aren't great. So I wouldn't be as optimistic I am with this type of market structure, as I would be if we were actually trending well. Like if we could take this and kind of copy it over here, after some strength, after a breakout, that would be a very nice opportunity because you've got a trend backing you up. You've got a breakout. There's actually direction to the market. Here, I wouldn't really say there's much direction. So, yeah, I would prefer Euro just because of where we're situated, but I can see some short-term moves down pound that makes sense as well. Like I said, I'll just be quite careful of that descending trend line, which could keep us bearish. So, yeah, that's the only thing I'd be watchful there for pound. But both of them, yeah, I would be eyeing up buying opportunities. Okay, so next I will take a look at Euro NZD for Angie. M15 and 4 hour, sure, we'll take a look. What challenge? Yeah, we're doing a challenge on our perps platform. Again, trading cryptocurrencies on a demo server, so there's no kind of stake involved. It's just a fun challenge to get people interested in the platform, and there will be rewards for the best performing traders. It'll probably be about a month, over a course of a month. Again, we're still finalizing the details, and we'll have more information to share that. I just want to, of course, just see who's interested and see if people are interested in the challenge. I guess someone now, but win rate unknown, risk reward unknown. Nice. That's great to hear, Basher. Yeah, we'll come up with some more information for it, but good to see you're interested. Again, trying something new because I can imagine a lot of people here haven't traded perps before. Very, very similar to futures, very similar to CFDs as well. So it's nothing that you'd be completely unaware of. Again, just speculating on price, buying and selling, and a bit of fun as well. Matter, BTC USD intraday sells on H1, H2. Okay, we shall take a look as well. Okay, until I saw momentum, I'm targeting halfway of the big move on Friday. Okay, is that for Euro? Okay, for Euro. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all for Euro. Again, I would watch out for that counter trend line. Looks like both of them have some counter trend lines to watch out for, particularly on the 15. Something like this. Again, it's a rough idea. It looks like we are showing signs of breaking out anyway. But yeah, halfway, maybe around there you're looking to target, more or less. Nothing too crazy, makes sense to me. I think where you position is the smart, logical thing to do. Back at the lows again, reacting well. If price is going to react at that level, I would guess we do move 50% at least, maybe even to the high as well, and probably same situation for pound as well. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the way I see euro right now is just the market that's ranging. We've respected support twice, we respected resistance twice. So if you're going to look for opportunities at the moment, I think just buying as close to the lows as possible and selling as close to the highs as possible makes the most sense. I'll try and avoid opportunities intraday. Again, if you get to the low time frames, it does open up new doors there potentially for opportunities, but primarily like a 15 hourly, 4-hour perspective, these are really the areas which I want to do my business in. Or of course, wait for breakouts if that's what you're looking for. Anyway, let's take a look at Euro NZD for Angie. So this one's been quite interesting. A lot of movement recently. Of course, we had some strength. That was on that was Wednesday. Okay, that was with the NZD news. I thought that was the Friday news there. That was the NZD news last Wednesday, which gave us a humongous candle to the upside. Now we're seeing some downside off the back of that. Of course, if I do expand to the higher time frames now, this is a very bullish market still. We just about pinched the highs, I'm pretty sure. Yes, we did. So naturally, still looking at pullbacks to keep buying. I do think at some point in time, we're actually going to get ready for a big sell. Because if I expand to the weekly chart even, you can see we're taking out some COVID highs here. Last time we were at this price, the price had a massive downturn. So I do think there is room, at least for like a bigger pullback. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to dump to the lows again, but we could do something like that potentially, a bigger retracement before we do continue. I think that's definitely on the cards there for USD, but we're not going to try and guess that because we could always go a little bit higher. So I wouldn't try and look for a big sell just yet. If we do start shifting bearish and creating bearish structure, of course, I think those shorts look really good, but we're still a long way away from that. So for now, I still do like the buys. We broke through the highs really well here. We've got a nice area of demand. Of course, this is where the ends of the news kicked in. Really strong push to the upside. I did mention yesterday that there could be some shorts potentially if we can break the range and retest it. Looks like we kind of are doing that if I kind of tidy things up a little bit. We have broken outside of this range here and looks like price is coming back for a retest there intraday. Has seen some nice downside. It looks really corrective, so I wouldn't get too carried away. If you are looking for another short here, that could still be a nice opportunity, a nice double top back into the range there. I think that will be a smart play for a short. Simply trying to catch the next lower high, roughly. As for a long idea, I think this is still the best place. I think how we're moving is still looking really corrective, which is a good sign. If we stay corrective, that means there's a good chance we do find support here. And if that's the case, well, targets back to the high and just keep things really, really simple. So yeah, USD from a 15-minute perspective, I would suggest some counter trend sells look good. They're aggressive. Let's not forget that the upper trend, not the upper trend, the higher time frame trend is still very bullish here. So if you are going to take some shorts here, be prepared to close trades quickly because momentum can turn in an instant. And if this momentum does pick up again, we could easily smash through the highs and continue. So don't be too stubborn with that position, but I do like the shorts there on the lower time frames. From a 4-hour perspective, I'll be waiting for pullbacks, just simply looking to find the higher lows of the market until proven otherwise. Until I start to see some bearish structure form, or we start to break some bullish structure, then yeah, I will be happy to shift to a bearish bias. But as of right now, that is not the case. So 4-hour point of view, I like the buys here still. 15, I think there's still some intraday opportunities for some shorts, but be careful with those positions. Okay, so next we'll take a look at BTC, which has been pretty interesting as of late. That was nice actually. I was actually looking to, but low time frame bad at the moment. Which chart are you talking about, Bashi? No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Okay, let me look at BTC for matter. 1 hour chart, 2 hour chart. Okay. So last time I checked, Bitcoin was looking a tad bearish. Yeah, we did take a little bit of a drop there, didn't we? So we are testing an area right now, which I do think we can bounce from. Looking to the left here, you can see a very nice area of demand. Price consolidated here, really aggressive push to the upside. I think this is a nice place for a buy. Not necessarily to bank on a push back to highs. That could be the case, but I wouldn't bank on that. We're technically breaking through some structure here through this low. I think we can use that to our advantage though, because naturally there will be a lot of buyers here. A lot of them will be liquidated. I do think the market now will have a bit of a relief, especially coming into such a significant area of demand. So I do think we can see a reaction, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we push up just to put a lower high and come back down some more. So this is more of a trade where I'm expecting a reaction, a pullback, if you will, more so than a continuation, of course, of the uptrend. So I will be quite cautious with BTC. Yes, the trend is still up in general. If you zoom out and look at the higher time frames, it's still very much a very bullish market. So it's not panic buttons just yet with BTC. Yes, we're breaking through some lows, but I do think we can use that to our advantage, and especially the area we're trading in now. If I drop to the 4 hour chart, I'll probably say targets around here I'll probably be watchful of. But as I said, I quite like how we're taking out the lows there as well. So in terms of the hourly chart, if I'm going to take buys here, I'll need to be very patient, because the hourly chart can give you a lot of fake signals, especially if you're looking at a daily level, because you're very, very intraday here. So you're kind of waiting for price to really shift in your favor and maybe look for some pullbacks off that. Maybe you can form some type of consolidation, a strong breakout of that, pullbacks of that, or even on the breakout, that can make some sense for some buys. And again, I'll be very watchful of these areas as we do push up, because each of these areas could potentially push price against us. Maybe some final targets around the highs over there. So yeah, I quite like the buys of Bitcoin. Like I said, I'm not looking for anything crazy. I don't think this would be a crazy move, but I do think we can at least see a reaction, even if price is going to sell off some more. And then, of course, targets. These are some nice areas to keep an eye on. But I wouldn't say the buys are quite here yet. Yes, a nice push down. Still quite flat. Not really seeing much bullish momentum right now, so I wouldn't recommend jumping into anything just yet. It might take maybe a day or two to develop, and then we can probably find some maybe buys tomorrow or Thursday potentially. But as long as we can hold that level, which is around 108, 109K, I would stay bullish. I definitely wouldn't be looking for a sell anyway. We're too stretched for that, and we're coming to some coming to some areas of demand, so shorts don't really make sense at this point in time anyway. So yeah, hopefully that made some sense. Okay, on GU. Okay, so you're looking at the lower time frame. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing as well with higher time frames and lower time frames. It comes like sometimes if you scale right down or you scale right up, sometimes the price action is completely different, and something on the lower time frame might look really ugly. You scale to the higher time frames, you kind of look at the bigger picture, maybe might be able to make a bit more sense of it. And sometimes it's the other way around. You look at the higher time frames, you have no idea what's going on. But then if you scale right down, there's some short-term, really nice moves you can take advantage of, whilst the higher time frames kind of sort themselves out. So actually being able to be flexible between time frames, I think, is a bit of an advantage of itself. I mean, I trade a wide range of markets, so I try to stay consistent with the time frames I'm trading on, because I'll be looking at markets forever. But maybe if you are trading only a set few markets, keeping a bit of flexibility between timeframes, I think, can help. But in terms of my watch list, again, it hasn't really changed too much. USD is still in a bit of a indecisive situation right now with all of this noise here. So there's no USD pairs on my watch list just yet. There's no USD pairs on my watch list just yet. In terms of some of the crosses, though, New Zealand CAD is on the watch list. I haven't really liked the way price has respected this level, so I haven't found any entries just yet, but I'm keeping a close eye. I probably would prefer us to actually pull back deep into this level where all that momentum came from, just because the break we test here looks a little bit shallow. But it was a decent breakout, really convincing candle, and of course, we have found resistance there quite a lot as well. So perhaps if price does push back into level, throw some more wicks, maybe shows a nice shift of momentum, maybe a counter trend break, I think that could be a nice entry itself. Stops above the high, and hopefully take advantage of momentum. If not, then I'm looking at opportunities up here in that supply zone. Again, pretty much for the same trade. And the reason why I'm looking for sells is because it looks to me that price is finally breaking out of this range here, this consolidation. It's actually starting to trend bearish. And if that's the case, I'm expecting a push to these lows and maybe these lows eventually. Because we've had numerous attempts trying to continue higher, but it just hasn't worked. We've just hit tops and it hasn't worked. So I do think price is going to start trending bearish now and start approaching some of these areas. So the plan is kind of just find some pullbacks on the way down. First area of interest, of course, the break when we test that low. If that doesn't play ball, then I will look at this area up there. And probably allows me to take a better trade because I'll be higher up, probably better risk to reward as well, and probably more a better place to take advantage of a bigger move. Because here you might catch a nice initial reaction, but price can very much pull back, knock you out the trade, and then continue. Of course, that could happen here, but you're just higher up, so you're better positioned for it. But yeah, New Zealand CAD definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. Looking for breaking retest of that area or a pull back into that supply zone. That's really where the focus will be throughout the week. In terms of CAD Yen, I quite like the buys or the sells with this one. It really depends which way price commits to. But to me, it looks like we're kind of just stagnant in this wedge pattern. And if I do see a sufficient enough breakout with some real emphasis, I don't mind potentially getting long on the breakout here, stops below the low, and looking to see if I can target highs and this 110 area up here, which is where a lot of resistance is lurking there for CAD Yen, back at that high, which actually gave us our last swing there. So I think there is still room to the upside for CAD Yen. You know, if this is just another pullback, as we did over here, as we did over there, you know, is this another one of those pullbacks as well in this wedge pattern? Really corrective behavior. If we could see some emphasis on the breakout, I don't mind looking to enter some longs, at least for a push back to this resistance. We might not get to 110, but if at least get pushed there, I'll be happy. And then maybe if we can get pushed there, or even a push back to the highs there, things go very well. There is upside potential, which is why I like the CAD Yen trade, and also I like how price is moving too. So if the JPY basket does decide it wants to continue lower, keep misspelling the basket. If price does want to decide it wants to continue lower, especially break this counter trend line here, I think we're in business. And then hopefully my Aussie JPY trade will continue. And I don't mind hopping to another long odd and yen pair because my risk is reduced. If my risk was still down here, I probably wouldn't be looking at CAD Yen buys, or at least until I do remove some risk, because I don't want to double up on the same idea. If this Aussie yen trade is going to play out, probably CAD Yen's going to play out too, and probably all longs and yen pairs are going to play out, maybe to different degrees and different speeds, but you know, the yen pairs typically move in the same direction. So it's the same trade basically, but because I have reduced risk there, I don't mind jumping into another position. But again, this does rely on price really picking up the pace and seeing some strength to the upside. And equally, if we do break lower, see some strength lower, I don't mind the shorts either, because if I expand back to the daily chart, we do have a break of this counter trend line. So I can definitely see a world where, you know, price is potentially getting ready to start trending bearish. You know, we were bullish for quite a while. We have broken that trend line. Of course, the trend line is not the be all or what's the saying again? Be all end all. Can't remember. But it's not the biggest judge in terms of a trend changing direction. Yes, it does help. It does provide some confluence, but there are times when price will dip below a trend line or dip above a trend line and still continue, you know, the direction of that trend. So I can see where we do continue high. I can see where we do continue lower. It just really depends where that momentum comes in and which way we break out. So CAD Yen, despite the direction, I quite like opportunities up and down. So this is definitely a pair I'll keep an eye on. So CAD Yen, New Zealand CAD. I quite like pound NZD as well. Really nice breakout for this one. Past couple of weeks, a lot of momentum, and so far we're seeing a really nice corrective pullback. So this gives me a lot of confidence that if price does test this area, rejects it well, we probably see somewhat of a bullish reaction. I could probably at least get a push back to highs there. We are trading some resistance to the left, but this trend does look still quite healthy. So I think there is a good possibility we do see new highs past that point. So the plan is kind of get back to resistance here and then hopefully to highs over there as well. And again, trail stops and see how far we can take the position. Very similar to USD we just mentioned as well. Very similar to USD we just mentioned, just looking for the pullback of that move and a continuation as well. But pound NZD looks a little bit more developed, and pound NZD is not out at the highs just yet. So I think there's still opportunity there. Whereas if I scale to USD, we've just taken out the highs there. So I don't really see much opportunity to keep buying, at least compared to pound NZD, which hasn't quite done that yet. So yeah, I like pound NZD longs, which again has some relation to New Zealand CAD as well, because of course I'm both relying on NZD being weak. If NZD is going to be weak, that should help New Zealand CAD push down, and of course should help USD push up. So I probably will be a situation where I pick one or the other to trade instead of trading both. And then CAD Yen, I kind of view that on its own as a yen pair. Yeah, that's pretty much where my focus is at right now. A lot of other yen pairs are consolidating, USD pairs a lot of indecision. Again, things can change quickly. The yen pairs are consolidating, but let's say we have a massive breakout today or tomorrow. Well, I could find myself, looking at a few yen pairs to trade. Same thing with USD. If we see a solid breakout, it might be 2, 3, 4 USD pairs which I'm interested in. Of course, I'll probably just pick one of them. But things can change pretty quickly. Just depends what the market is going to do. Yusuf, I'd love to join the challenge. Nice. Will the crypto be to be traded, be specific, or all currency goes? Again, we're still finalizing the details, but probably all currencies allowed, really. Cryptocurrencies allowed. Of course, we'll be trading on the Perch platform at the moment. We only have cryptocurrencies. FX and other markets are not quite there yet of the platform, but we are looking to add FX, stocks, indices, commodities on the Perch platform as well. But at the moment, all cryptocurrencies can be traded on the platform. But yeah, it won't be like a specific pair you have to trade. That's it. It's not the be all end all. That's it. Thank you, Jason. Don't know why that slipped my mind. Yusuf, I'm not really looking to trade UJ and GJ, but please, what's your thoughts to them? Okay, no problem. We can take a look. And I think you're right to say that as well. Because you asked me for UJ and GJ yesterday, I think, and you said they were very, very choppy and you didn't want to trade them. And that's still the case. So I do commend you for that, because the price action is rubbish. And just being able to decide for yourself, it's not worth my time. This is not worth me to actually put a position on. That is a trade in itself. Not taking a trade is a move itself. Because otherwise taking a rubbish trade is going to set you back a bit. And if you do that a lot, it will set you back a lot. So deciding not to take a position can just be as important as deciding to take a position. So kudos to that. But yeah, UJ looks really, really rough. So my interpretation on the full hour is basically looking at this wider range here, this wider ascending channel, and just looking to see if we can call the lows of it. I like this area. If I zoom in, you can see a nice area of demand. Taking that across, that could be a very nice place for a buy. We can see some buys into the market at this level. You already saw the strength from this area previously. We could see that happen again. There's some nice areas of support as well, which I quite like to see if price can run through them, take some liquidity. That could help potentially us to move higher as well. And of course, not to mention, you've got the trend line there and simply just the low of the channel. So there's a lot of sense here in terms of the buys. Possibly you might see a swing all the way back to highs, or it might just be a third of the way before price puts a high in and then reverses. I'm not too sure. It's a very slight uptrend, so I wouldn't get too excited about the buys here for dollar yen. It's just a very smart place for a buy. In terms of the 15 though, you're just going to get into the nitty gritty in here. 15, as I said yesterday, basically just looking to short the highs and buy the lows. I mentioned this resistance yesterday. I said this will be a smart place for a short. Price hasn't really got there, but of course we are seeing some signs of some selling pressure kick in. And as I said yesterday as well, I think this is a smart place for a buy. We already had this reaction, but I said if we were to come back down, I think that's still a smart place for a buy, and I still do stand by that until we kind of get momentum breaking out of this, or at least consistently, because it looked like at one point we were getting that, but of course the news came in and erased all of that progress. So until we kind of get the bigger breakout, whether it's up or down, again, you're really looking to position yourself at smart areas for some buys and lows, and that really would be my take there for UJ. But from a swing bias, I quite like what we're doing down here. In terms of GJ, well, GJ for me is just very, very choppy as well. I actually prefer UJ a little bit more than GJ just because I can make sense of the price action a bit more, even though UJ is just consolidating, but at least it's doing something. GJ right now is stuck at resistance. It's been doing that for quite a while. So we're just not really progressing past this point right now. And now we're turning quite flat. We've got some equal lows here, we've got some equal highs there, and price has just been back and forth between those areas. Again, on the 15, that's where things get really, really choppy, because it's like, you know, what is price doing here? It is ranging as well, but at least UJ, the highs and lows of the range were quite, you know, in sync, quite proportional. Here it's like there's a slight bearish channel going on, but I wouldn't get too excited by that either. So I think this is really, really tough conditions for GJ, to be honest. Really, really tough conditions. So again, for this one, as I mentioned yesterday, I think the bias from here makes sense. We did see a nice reaction there eventually. So, of course, in hindsight, nice place for a buy, but we did say at the time as well. I still stand by it. I think if price gets there again, it's still a nice place for a buy. As long as price shows good evidence of rejecting that area, it still makes sense for a buy. You know, you always have to have the mentality that when price is in a range, we're in that range until we're not really. Yeah, if price does get back to the support level, I think it's still a nice place for a buy. And if we do break through that, then I'll keep an eye for this low, and I think that could be a nice place for a buy as well. And in terms of the shorts, I think I'd probably keep an eye up here, because there is to some degree some lower highs going on. So I wouldn't mind the push back into resistance, see what we can do there. I think that could be a smart place for a short as well. But yeah, in terms of just mapping out areas, just down low or up high, that's really where you want to focus. Anywhere else, I think is difficult to trade, really difficult to trade. Yeah, conditions have been quite flat, to be honest. I'm starting to go through pairs in my head, and a lot of pairs have been quite choppy, not really in a trending environment. And you know, that's the thing, you know, these conditions come and go, because early in the year, you know, April times, we're seeing a lot of trending environments. Yen pairs, CHF pairs, USD pairs, a lot of movement across the board. And that's kind of where your picking and choosing comes into play. And that's where really knowing your edge comes into play. You know, is your edge dependent on conditions, or is it not dependent on conditions? If it is dependent on conditions, then you need to know what those conditions are and then lean into them. And of course, when they aren't there, don't trade or find markets which are doing what you want them to do. If it's not condition dependent, then you still have to be quite smart with how you trade as well, because your strategy might not be condition dependent in terms of I can only trade trending markets, or I can only trade ranging markets, but still you have to be able to adapt to what the market is giving you still. Like for myself, I can both trade ranging and trending, but I trade differently when things are ranging to when things are trending as well. So there has to be some type of fluctuation there. But yeah, for GJ, this is really, really choppy price action, I must say. Direction's really unclear. And the 4-hour chart isn't much better as well. And I think this is really relying on what yen itself is going to do, because I don't think yen is quite clear. I don't think yen is quite clear in itself what it wants to do right now. yeah, I mean, they do say trading is 90% waiting, 10% actually trading. Looks like the market's trying to make us do that. Yeah, I agree. UJ is better than GJ. Yeah, only just though. Only just. I think they're both quite messy, but I can make a bit more sense of UJ. Pavanator, my man, good to see you. Happy Tuesday. What is up? What roller coaster? Yeah, I could imagine. Excuse me, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, you did say you were trading stops, so last week kicked into trading stops. Now out of the again made 130 profit. That's good. I know you put an unhappy face there, but you know, 130 profits, $130 is what you didn't have before going into the trade. You know, from that trade itself. So, you know, I always have the mentality that any profit is good profit. Of course, the bigger the better, of course. But you know, still, you got to be thankful for the profit you did make. But I think you managed the trade pretty well because you know there will be a lot of people who were selling Aussie dollar who didn't trail stops, and then you got that massive candle going against you. A lot of people will be sitting pretty with, you know, their profits at the lows there. You know, kind of having the expectation that okay, yeah, price is looking pretty bearish. It probably break support. I'm expecting price to continue lower, and rightly so. I'm sure they got their reasons to expect that. And of course, this happened, and now you're sitting uncomfortably. Like, do I close the trade? Do I sit in it? All my floating profit is gone, or at least a huge chunk of it is gone. Maybe I'm in drawdown now, and now you're starting to sweat a little bit. That's why actively managing a position and protecting your trades does help. And I think it helps a lot in terms of the conscious as well, because you know you couldn't really expect that to happen. On another parallel universe, the news went the opposite way and price dumped in your favor, and it would have been happy days. Of course, in this occasion, unfortunately, did go against you, but you know, actively managing the trade made you still walk away for decent profit there. So I think pat yourself on the back for that, because it could have been a situation where you walk away with nothing potentially. So I definitely think pat yourself on the back. Yeah, sure, Bashi, ask away. So Jason's giving approvals now? Possible buy right now on Euro. Okay, we shall take a look. Dolph, Pound, Swiss, no problem. We can take a look at that as well. If I've missed out a pair, let me know. I don't think I have. But yeah, Pavanator, kudos to you for management on that Aussie dollar trade. You did catch a nice sell. I believe you were in the trade around there. That's a nice move. Probably what? Maybe 70, 80, 90 pips there. Let's measure it roughly. I think you were in here roughly around there. Actually, that's about 100, 110. Maybe you got stopped out around here or something. So, yeah, still a great move. And yeah, on to the next one. Okay, so Euro we'll take a look at. Pound Swish, sure thing as well. Bashi, I've been thinking about creating track record and stuff since the talk with market, and you mentioned Darwin X. Can you explain about the ideal way to build a track record and why Darwin X? Well, there's multiple ways to do it. Darwin X is a brokerage essentially, and there is different ways to build a track record on Darwin X. You can either, I think they've got some program where you can, I think they give you like a demo account to trade with, and they'll kind of track your progress. I think essentially it's just you can either treat it like a normal brokerage, which was you just put money in there and you trade, and of course you can track the progress. The thing about Darwin X, it has its own software in terms of managing and showcasing your performance, your results, your stats. In the normal brokerages, which just give you an account to trade, and then it's up to you to kind of track your performance. Darwin X does give you kind of like tools to look at. It showcases your win rate, risk to rewards, your average hold time, all of that lovely stuff. It will give you a lot of information. So what Darwin X will do is that it will just track your trading on the demo account or the live account, and then will create a track record for you. And I think there are investors there which can look at your track record and potentially invest if they like what they see. But yeah, a track record you can create in many ways. You can just open a a brokerage account, put some money in there, start trading it, connect to your MyFX book, or you can do old-fashioned, drop an Excel spreadsheet if you want. Because a track record, all it essentially does is just record your trading progress. There's many ways to go about it, and of course, some people like using other methods because people can manipulate things. MyFX book can be manipulated as well. It's just a record of your progress. So you can do that old-fashioned ways. You can do it with the R1X. I think they will take a bit of a commission there as well. But yeah, I think the easiest way is just to open a brokerage account, record it yourself. Pavinator, now back hunting for an entry. Nice. Yeah. Are you still looking to short Aussie dollar? I think it's getting quite choppy now. The momentum here is kind of throwing me off a little bit. I mean, I think shorts look good back at the highs here. I think that's more or less where you did enter a few weeks ago. So I think if price gets back there again, I think that's a smart place to jump into a position again. Likewise, I think longs look good here. We're seeing a lot of evidence of support holding, and essentially we're kind of flat now. So I think shorts up there makes sense. But it's a choppy market, Aussie dollar. I can't lie. It's and again, USD is quite choppy at the moment as well. So we're kind of seeing that reflect a little bit. But yeah, we haven't really seen that USD strength. And again, the reason why Aussie dollar did sell off quite well the past couple of weeks is because Aussie was really weak at the time. And we weren't really seeing USD strength. So unless USD really kicks on, it's always going to find it a little bit difficult to really get going. But let's say if the DXY can break to the upside and we do see that strength for the dollar, let's say we see something like this happen, then yeah, that's game on. Aussie dollar is probably going to tank, and we'll probably find some nice trending opportunities there. But yeah, Aussie is quite flat, and so is the DXY for the moment now. Okay, where was I? So we'll go for Euro, Pound, CHF. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Bash, because I like cheating. That is my track record, but he says not really. So I would like trade props and say that controls. Yeah, I mean it depends. I mean, if you want like an actual kind of, because a live stream again is not really a track record as well. But again, the purpose of a track record is to record your trading. So you want it in like a spreadsheet as well. So live stream, of course, you're showcasing your trading, but if you want it to have like an actual like spreadsheet or an actual like something people can look at, you do want to record it. Again, it doesn't have to be anything special. It can just be an Excel document. Of course, there are other places you can record it as well. It's up to you really, but that's essentially what a track record is. And again, it's up to you how you want to trade. There's no obligation to do that, but of course, having a track record helps you, and of course, it can help you in the future as well. Yeah, exactly. TradeZilla is another way. There's another platform you can plug in your account, and it records your progress there as well. Anyway, let's go through some pairs before I forget, because I can definitely see myself doing that pretty soon. So Euro USD, possible buy right now, and Pound CHF. Euro USD, possible buy right now. I mean, I like what I'm seeing here, because it looks to me that price is breaking out that descending channel I just drew. Yeah, I actually like the close, to be honest. I actually like that as a buy. The only thing I would say is we're not looking for anything crazy here. I like what Yusuf said, and the 50% is a decent level to target. The risk reward won't be looking amazing though. The 50% is only there, so yeah, risk reward might not be the best. I mean, if you are going to target the highs, you could probably walk away from maybe a 1 to 1.5 to 1 there, which is not bad. You're still making more than if you do take the loss in the position. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a range play, that's a good position, I would say. The entry looks good. There's momentum in that. You're seeing healthy rejection. We kind of broke the counter trend line. I probably would ignore the 50 at this point because it's just so close to price. If you had a better entry like down here, then yeah, 50% could be a great place to lock in gains and manage that trade. But if you're entering now, I think you're you're kind of micromanaging at that point. You kind of want to let the trade breathe a little bit. So yeah, I would focus more so at the high end of the range for targets. And the great thing about this as well, let's say if you do get to the high, lock in some gains there, remove risk, potentially capitalize on a breakout as well. That's why I like trading ranges, because if you can take advantage of the swing of the range, that's a great trade in itself. But there's always that possibility that you might get the breakout too. And if you can manage well, you can manage the breakout and trail stops and so on and so forth, which is what I was trying to do with my pound Aussie position last week, but unfortunately we did not reject the highs. So yeah, I do like it. I do like it. Let me take a look at pound CHF. Pound CHF, okay, seeing a bit of a break to the upside. Not the most convincing momentum, I would suggest, but it looks like we are picking up some bullish momentum here. Again, I mentioned yesterday for pound Swiss, I think the best place to get involved would be back at the lows here. Significant resistance. Of course, we had a lovely breakout. Price has since come back for a retest. We are looking quite corrective, but I would want to see price back at the lows here again, and that's why I want to position myself long. If you are looking at shorts, this could be a nice place for it, but I'll probably keep it intraday. Wouldn't look for anything too meaningful. Let me just clear this up. So let's say if we can push to resistance, start to see some rejection. I think that could be a nice short, especially as price takes at some of these equal highs here. I think that could be a nice place for a short. And likewise, this could be a nice place for a long as well. But I'll keep it short and sweet with pound CHF. I'm not too sure about the longer term move with pound Swiss. It's just very, very choppy. We did respect some lows here. I'm not too sure what price is doing. It might be doing something like this. Could be. I want to see more kind of commanding momentum for me to be confident with that bias. But yeah, intraday, approaching that supply level with these previous lower highs in play, 2, 3, could see a fourth one. I think that's still a smart place for a short, and I think that's still a smart place for a long. So yeah, that's kind of how I look to take pound CHF for now. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Does really help out. Hit the bell, share it with your friends. All of that does really help the channel out, and I do really appreciate it. Lighton, what's up, my man? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. Welcome. Did I miss New Zealand dollar? Yes, we can take a look at that. Please recap after request pairs and Euro pound and USD no problemo. We can take a look at all of those. I haven't actually looked at Euro pound or USD ZAR yet, but we can go through and the USD as well. Yeah, that's true, Jason. That's true. Again, I mean, it is a business at the end of the day, so they do have to, have some incentive to promote their platform. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, because if I had a business like Darwin X, then I would say the only way to have a proper track record would be through my business. That would be a huge incentive for people to sign up and me to profit from that. Of course, it can provide a legitimate way to showcase your record. I'm not saying it's illegitimate, but there are other ways, of course, and I'm pretty sure they do take commissions off that too. So, and again, it's just a service they provide, and they will provide that at a cost, of course. But yeah, the biggest thing is there's more than one way to have a track record. Like I said, be patient. Like I said before, be patient for the market to speak to you. Exactly, man. It's a new language to learn. It's now about waiting and seeing the next entry. Nice, good Pavinator. Yeah, just be patient. I would say Aussie dollar is a quite choppy market now, so it's slightly difficult, more difficult to trade. Like the trade that you took there was really nice in terms of the breakout of the channel, because we had that ascending channel. We saw a really strong down move, and essentially you just got the pullback of that. So this was the ascending channel. We broke to the downside. We pulled back to retest it. I'm pretty sure this is where you entered your position. So that was pretty kind of logical in terms of the thought process for that trade. Break, retest. Now it's kind of like, okay, what's price doing now? I'm not too sure. Well, if you do get back to resistance, I think that would be a sensible place for a trade. Essentially, you're taking the short where you were last time, so that still makes sense. Where we are trading right now, I wouldn't get my hopes up, especially after seeing such a strong reaction off the low. I wouldn't be surprised if more upside does come into play. And personally, I wouldn't want to short against that momentum straight away anyway, especially because we're not really testing any kind of key area either. So yeah, I think Aussie dollar, that would be the next place that at least makes sense to me at the moment. But you know, things can change. But for now, that's the only area that does make sense to me. I appreciate it, Bashi. Thank you for that message, my man. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, like and subscribe does really help out. So you prefer breakouts more? It depends on the situation. It depends on the situation. I do like breakouts, but then I also do like getting involved before the breakout if things look good. Like my Aussie yen trade is not really a breakout opportunity. I'm basically buying at the low of the channel here. You know, trying to catch the move before the breakout. So you've got the channel here. The break opportunity will be buying after we've, of course, cleared the channel. The thing about break opportunities is it's really easy to manage. I like breakouts because they're easy to manage, because the thought process behind a breakout is to say that, okay, price has broken through something, so now we should keep going in that direction. So in terms of managing, basically, if you buy a breakout and you can see immediately price is not really showing signs that the price is going for you, the best thing to do is get out of that position. And that way you can keep risk very, very small. And in terms of maximizing reward, well, if you do see momentum, sometimes you'll catch some breakouts which just fly in your direction and you can trail stops and they can be some really big winners. So in terms of just the basic maths of allowing your rewards to be bigger than your losses, break opportunities can be really effective in terms of just keeping your winners bigger than your losses, and just hitting some decent profitability ideas. Keeping risk small, getting out quickly when things are not showing signs of continuation, than when things are trying to make the most of that. So that's why I like breakouts. But sometimes it doesn't make sense to take breakouts. Depends where we're breaking to, where we're breaking from. Sometimes it doesn't really make too much sense to take the breakout. And this opportunity, it made sense to get in before the breakout, because I think the breakout will be a little bit too late to the party in this scenario. And I quite like buying at the lows here, so I can not only profit of this move before the breakout, so I can potentially make a profit here. But if we do break out as well, I'm positioned a lot deeper as well. So if the market does pull back a little bit more exaggerated than I expected, I can still probably hold the position because of where my entry is. So there are benefits to entering before the breakout as well, and looking for kind of more reverse opportunities. And I trade both. It really depends on the opportunity. I try to always think about kind of how confident or how safe a position is. If some things are not quite clear, it means I'll probably wait for the breakout. Like for Euro USD, for example, I'm not too clear about direction. Same for the DXY. I don't really know what price is doing, to be honest. It looks to me that we are still putting lower highs here, so I do have a natural kind of bias that price will fall over. But at the same time, we're just respecting support, respecting resistance. So for Euro USD, I probably would wait for the breakout, because then I can be quite confident that we are going to continue lower. And if I see some signs that price is going to break back in the range, I'm out of that trade pretty quickly, minimal loss. But if it doesn't and it shows signs of continuation, the wins can be pretty significant to these lows and maybe further as well. So in this case, I would wait for a breakout. But for Aussie yen, for me, I was more happy to get involved earlier. So it depends on the position. Coffee Spinner, my man, what's up? Welcome to the trades. Would you take a look at oil? Yes, I can, no problem. I've actually looked at oil. Did I look at oil yesterday? I don't think I did. Maybe I did. But yeah, we can take a look at oil for you, no problem. Hey, what's up, CS Integrated? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. We shall go through. We shall go through oil next. Okay. Ooh, okay. Look at that from oil. That's a very nice rejection. Okay, so yeah, I did look at oil yesterday. I think we were trading around here. Remember, we were just about to come into that zone. I said this is where the focus will be because this is a pretty big level in the market. And if we do reject it well, it could start a very nice downturn back to these lows here. And so far, it has reacted pretty well. So I quite like the shorts here. I quite like the shorts because we rallied, we picked up momentum, rejected the high, and we picked up momentum back down again. So slight price was really corrective, big push up, maybe attracting some buyers, and then we flipped on them and looking really bearish right now. So yeah, I quite like the entry as well. Entries there, stops there, at least some targets back to the low. Looks like maybe a 1 to 1.5 there in terms of the risk to reward. I think as long as price doesn't take out this high, you're looking good. If it does take out the high, then we're probably in the wrong direction. But if you can get stops above the high there, I think you're positioned very well. And I think in terms of risk to reward, there's a lot of opportunity. And again, you don't always have to get involved here as well. This is kind of like the inflection point, where price is going to reverse from or potentially reverse from. If you want to look for kind of safer trades and kind of more continuation trades, what you could wait for is price to actually become bearish, really reject this area, and just look for some intraday pullbacks along the way. Because of course, if you're going to get here, there's a long way to go. There will be pullback opportunities along the way. There'll be break and retest opportunities along the way, especially if you're intraday as well. There'll be a lot of them. This is not a small move in the slightest. So if you don't want to get involved here, where things are not as clear cut, this is getting involved before the move is ready, has kind of started. Getting involved in pullbacks here. The move has started, it's well underway, and now he's trying to take small pieces of the pie as we continue. So this would be the slightly more aggressive trade because you're trying to pick the high, pick the continuation. Here you can be a bit more convinced because momentum is well and truly here. We've already rejected the level. The odds of us getting to the lows there are pretty likely at that point in time. So it depends what you're looking for, but I think that's a solid enough rejection. Yeah, I quite like what I'm seeing. Especially if you get nice bearish engulfing on the daily chart. Yeah, I think oil can see a lot of downside there. And of course, if we were to close back above this area, that would then, of course, invalidate that bearish bias pretty quickly. This might turn into a big fake out, and there could actually be some nice buys on the pullback to take it higher. So to be honest, it doesn't really matter which way we go. That's the beauty of trading, whether we're going to sell off or continue higher. As long as the price moves, there's opportunities in both directions, really. So yeah, if we do break higher, this is what we'll be looking for. But of course, now it looks like we've got a solid enough rejection. So the focus is the shorts for now. Okay, Tarek, yes, we can look at pound USD. Please do not spam the chat. I can see your message, and again, it doesn't really help other people out if you spam in the chat. If I don't read the message, you can let me know. But if you do continue to spam, I will have to remove you, unfortunately, which would be a shame. It would be a great shame. Anyway, pound USD. So, as I mentioned with this one, again, if I mention talk about the 4-hour chart, it just is quite messy. We've got equal lows here, we've got equal highs there, and the market essentially is just kind of rebounding between the two levels. I quite like the breakout opportunities, or at least pullback opportunities once we've seen the breakout, because in here it's a little bit indecisive. I mean, I can see some opportunities for some buys on the lower time frames. This to me looks like a big kind of correction of this move, so I can see a world where we do continue to the upside, but I wouldn't necessarily get too excited about that, primarily because of where we're trading. To me, this looks like a big consolidation, really. And I wouldn't really be looking for continuation patterns inside a consolidation because it kind of defeats the purpose. We're not really continuing much, are we? So I'd rather wait for opportunities outside of this level or outside of this level, and then my targets become the high over here, or if we do break to the downside, my targets become the low over there. So I like what I'm seeing for pounds because I think despite the direction we're going to go, there's kind of clear-cut targets, clear-cut areas of where we can see price make a move towards. And once that happens, then we're in business, really. Whether you're taking breakout opportunities or looking for break and retest opportunities, it becomes pretty simple in terms of targets. And of course, if it is a fake out as well, and price closes back above, well, we know that that opportunity is now invalid. We'll get out those positions. So yeah, I quite like what I'm seeing here with pound. Just kind of waiting, playing the waiting game. I think basically we're waiting on the DXY really, because this is kind of chopping about right now. So when DXY picks its direction, pound's probably likely going to pick its direction shortly afterwards. Same with euro, same with the other USD pairs as well. I think dollar CHF is in a really nice range as well. Yeah, so this one's just back and forth too. You got some equal lows here, roughly equal highs around there. Looked at one point, we're going to break to the downside. That didn't go to plan there. Now we're very much back within the range here as well. So a lot of USD pairs are in this kind of range back and forth, and it makes sense because the DXY is in one as well. And that's kind of the beauty of the USD pairs, which is why you don't necessarily need to trade them all, because they're really all kind of dependent on US dollar. US dollar is the governing body of the USD majors. If USD is strong, 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, it's normally going to be stronger than the other currencies. If it's weaker, it's normally going to be weaker than the other currencies, and it would dictate the trend. So if you get a good read on the dollar, if you get a good read on what the USD is about to do next, you can pretty much pick and choose which pair you want to trade it against, whether it's going to be Aussie, New Zealand, Euro, Pound, you can CAD, you can pick and choose. Of course, that's where the next kind of next part of the game is really, because you want to pick it against a strong currency, against a weak currency. Sometimes you can get that muddled up a little bit. So, but yeah, the main focus is really understand what the USD is going to do, and then we'll go from there. Coffee spinner, yes, we can take a look at Bitcoin as well. I appreciate it, Bashi. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll make you a mod. I'll do it after the stream because I need to go into my studio to do that. But yeah, I do need a mod, to be fair. Okay, so we'll go through BTC. So Bitcoin's looking interesting. Actually, what am I doing? Actually type Bitcoin out there. Yeah, Bitcoin's been a bit interesting. I do think it's in a nice place for a buy, although I'm not banking on much, to be honest. I'm looking just for a reaction off this low. It probably is going to be a pullback for us to go lower. I can see a world where we do that. I mean, it's a really nice double top there at the high, and we had a lot of momentum here, but it just topped out. So yeah, price is not really looking too good here. But yeah, for BTC, we're coming back to a nice area of demand. Lovely little consolidation here. It spat out a lot of momentum with that breakout, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're back there again. We're already seeing some wicks here as well. We have taken out some of these lows here, so that's kind of taking some liquidity in our favor. Price can now potentially see some relief to the upside. I wouldn't bank on this happening. Like I said, it's probably going to be a pullback. Maybe price has still got some room to the downside to go and fulfill. So I wouldn't get my hopes up completely with this buy. But in terms of where we're positioned, in terms of the area we're trading from, I think the buys make sense, provided we see some healthy rejection here. And we're already seeing some wicks, which is a great first, there's a great first sign. But I would want to see a bit more evidence there. Maybe some more wicks, and importantly, some momentum to really back it up. Then yeah, I think there is a solid buy opportunity there for BTC. I think there's a solid buy there as well, and I'll be watchful of the trade as we come back to these areas. I'll be looking to see what we do, and then maybe that could be like a nice final target for the trade. So yeah, Bitcoin, I would be pretty bullish on. I would be pretty bullish on this one as of where we're trading. Not necessarily I'm expecting price to go back to highs. Of course, the overall trend is still very much to the upside, so that is a natural kind of confluence to the buy. This is still a very bullish market, which is steamrolling to the upside. Of course, we're just coming off a double top, which makes things a bit awkward. But despite that, momentum is still in our favor, and we can still take advantage of that, even if it doesn't take us back to the all-time highs. Even if it just takes us halfway, that's still nonetheless a nice opportunity to take. Okay, you mod for FX James. Okay. I haven't seen him on the streams recently. But yeah, after the stream, I will get you involved, Bashi. But yeah, markets are quite dry at the moment. To be fair, I'm just going to keep an eye on Aussie yen for now. New Zealand CAD is more or less around the area I'm looking to trade from, but that's probably still at least 24 hours away from actually developing into anything. Pound NZD, that's probably 24 to 48 hours away from developing to anything, maybe even more than that. And CAD Gen, that can change pretty quickly, so I'll keep an eye on that because I'm looking for a breakout, and that breakout could come potentially the next 4-hour candle. So things can change pretty quickly after that. So yeah, CAD Gen probably the next likely position if we do break to the upside for a long. But apart from that, I'm just going to keep a watchful eye on the USD pairs, keep a watchful eye on the DXY. There's not a lot of news this week either. I mean, there's news here and there. Not major news. I think that's probably the right way to describe it. But then again, sometimes the small news events do pack a punch, surprisingly. And I would hope they do, to be honest. I hope they would do, because then they'll actually provide some opportunities for us. But yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple this week. Again, sometimes you have some weeks where you're just managing a position and not doing anything, or some weeks you don't even have a position to manage. Some weeks it's just kind of just keep an eye on the market, staying vigilant, of course, and then getting through that week, maybe not needing to do anything. And of course, some weeks you'll come into play where there's 2 or 3 positions to take potentially every day, and you're going to have to be kind of picking and choosing because you don't want to overtrade and overdo it in terms of risk. And you'll kind of want to just make sure you're picking the best ones out of the bunch as well. So sometimes we'd be very active, and you kind of like maybe even overwhelmed potentially in terms of how many opportunity there is, and have to make sure you're sensible with it. And another thing as well is that it will kind of differ from trader to trader as well. Okay, no problem, Bashi. It would differ from trader to trader as well. Some traders might say, okay, this week didn't really provide much of an opportunity. Other traders might say they found a great opportunity. And that's where kind of comparison comes in. You don't want to compare too much, well, actually at all, to be honest. Unless you're trading the same strat with the same kind of thought process, I would stay away. Lighten, I do apologize, my friend. Use these are. I have not taken a look at that at all. What did you say again? See, Lighten, you're so patient, mate. You asked me this ages ago, and I haven't looked at it since, and now you reminded me. I'm joking. To be fair, again, I will forget pairs from time to time, so again, just drop me a reminder, let me know. But I do apologize, Lighten. Yeah, we'll go for Euro Pound and use these are. I think you requested another pair, didn't you? New Zealand dollar as well, yeah, we can take a look at those as well. Coffee Spinner, we could try and invite a guest in the stream. I think it would be more interesting, engaging as well. Or what you thought on that. Actually, yeah, that's a good idea, actually. That's actually a good idea, yeah. I can probably do that as well. Of course, there's a lot of people in the next stream I can probably contact as well. So yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. A little segment. Yeah, I probably do in terms like speaking, like with them, rather than just like a separate segment for them. But yeah, that's actually a good idea. Coffee Spinner. What's up, Malik? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Dre, what's up? Yes, we can take a look at Euro Swiss, Malik Oil. We can take a look at that. But yeah, Coffee Spinner is actually a good idea. And I've got a few people which can probably be interested, actually. Let me look at New Zealand dollar. Okay, so yeah, New Zealand dollar, as I mentioned earlier, the way I see it is just like a descending channel, really. So I wouldn't get too excited about the price action, really, unless we're at the lows or at the highs of the channel. That's the only areas which I'll really look to get involved in. So 0.58, 0.594, Those are the two areas where I think opportunities can make a lot of sense. Anywhere else, I'm not too sure about. To be honest, because again, when I look at a descending channel or ascending channel, it's basically just a range. You know, if I just flatten this out, it's basically a range, but just at a slant. So you treat it as one. And as I say, when you're trading a range, you want to be at the low or the high of the range. And it's the same thing with the channel, low of the channel or high of the channel there. So if you do push back down to support, reject it well, I think that's a great place to get involved. Likewise with the shorts, until we see evidence of a breakout, but really looking just to call the tops and the bottoms here and really stay away from the middle, because that's where the noise will be. But yeah, New Zealand dollar, that's where you really want to position yourself. And at the moment, I'm looking for a swing back to highs. In terms of euro pound, we did see some weakness yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, a bit of a move down, but it hasn't really done anything in terms of breaking structure or breaking support. So I wouldn't get too carried away there with euro pound. I would wait for us to break through support here and then look for some pullbacks or pullback after that. That's really what I was mentioning yesterday with euro pound, because it looks to me that price could be topping out here. We've come back to highs here on our left, and now we're coming back to the high there where price could potentially continue lower. There is a world where we do see a lot of downside to this level here. And yeah, I do think we can see a lot of downside for euro pound. And if this is a top, I think if we do break through that support, this kind of looks like somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. A very weird one, but it kind of makes some sense. Of course, with this being the neckline. Ooh, let me do that again. With this being the neckline, so if that clears, you're looking really good. And again, as I mentioned yesterday, I wouldn't really be looking for opportunities in and around this area. I'm not the biggest fan of what's going on here. I think if we can break support, then this becomes really clear, or just pullbacks at any point really. Doesn't necessarily have to be the retest of that level specifically, but I think that would be a nice level. And then yeah, we could see somewhat of a downtrend start to form, and I think we can continue lower. But we're looking at evidence. We're looking like we're getting that breakout potentially. We're at least seeing some downside. This has been really corrective on the way up, so we haven't really seen much strength anyway. So because of that, I do think the likeliness of us breaking that level is pretty high now. So yeah, I'll wait for something like that to happen. And yeah, I think there's a lot of room to the downside. And in terms of USD ZAR, okay, USD ZAR looked like it was breaking lower, but did not break lower. Well, it did break lower, but didn't continue lower. Of course, reacting off the low. So yeah, really nice buy opportunity there. Dip below, close back above. Nice push to the upside. Again, I still do expect USD ZAR to trend lower. I've talked about this low for quite some time now, but we haven't seen an established breakout opportunity there, or at least a strong one. Yeah, it was a big candle, but we only just closed it by a small margin. When you're looking to trade breakouts, you want some distance there. Small breakouts are more prone to fake outs there, so be careful of that. But we have redeemed that, and of course support is still holding for now. So in terms of opportunities for USD ZAR, again, it would be if price was to push back into support. I think that's really where you're going to position yourself for a long. We're coming back to some areas of supply now. I wouldn't really be looking to short there, to be honest. But I definitely wouldn't want to be buying there. So if I'm looking to buy USD ZAR, and if I didn't buy here, I would wait for price to get there again, show some more evidence of support, or of course wait for potentially the break to the downside, and then look for opportunities, back to low. There is still a lot of room to take advantage of there as well. But the biggest takeaway here of USD ZAR is that support is still doing its job, still holding price really well, and as a result, buying off that area still makes the most sense. There could still be a big break to the upside. But again, if you're not in a trade, you want price to get there again before looking for an entry. And if you're looking to sell, let's see if we can get the break of that support level. That's the only place. Or of course, we do rally back to resistance up here. Then we can speak about that probably later on. But I wouldn't look for sells unless we're below that support level. So yeah, that's kind of where I'll be with USD ZAR and Euro Pound. Okay, Euro CHF for Dre. We shall take a look at that as well. And oil for Malik, we can take a look, no problem. Work hard, we can take a look at gold for you, no problem. And Euro's gonna like your New Zealand dollar, nice. Yeah, it's just operating in that channel. I'll just stick with the lows and buys, not try and get into too much detail there. Yeah, sometimes the simplest opportunities are the best ones, and most of the time they are. Yes, we will take a look at gold. I've got a couple pairs to go through first. Euro, Swiss, and oil, and I shall take a look at gold for you. Euro CHF. Yeah, Euro CHF, an interesting one. I'm just treating this as a ranging market, so again, not looking to try and get involved in this area because look at the noise there. Look at all the wicks. Horrendous behavior. At the highs here, at least it's straightforward. It's either price is going to break through or it's not. You know, it's 50-50 here. And if you start to see a rejection, well, you know, it's probably going to be, price is probably going to move down rather than break through. So things are a lot easier to maneuver, a lot easier to trade at the highs and at the lows in the middle. Not to say you can't find opportunities, it's just a little bit more harder. And why make it harder on yourself? But anyway, Euro CHF did come into the highs recently, consolidated, broke to the downside, did eventually have a nice break and retest there. It looks like price is respecting prior resistance as support here, and we're looking a little bit strong off that. Now, I wouldn't be looking for opportunities here. I can imagine some people will be looking for some break and retest opportunities, potential continuation trade here. Maybe that might happen, maybe not. Again, in terms of clarity, especially with some longs, breaking out the highs is just the clearest opportunity there is. Not suggesting you have to buy the breakout, but once we do see a convincing break, pullbacks and trending opportunities afterwards make a lot of sense. And probably we're going to make a move towards these areas. I mean, Euro CHF has found a really strong floor right now. If I expand to like the weekly, a weekly chart. Expand to the weekly chart, you can see how many times price has tried to break through this area. It's failed pretty much every attempt, and we've had some really significant attempts trying to break through this area. So once price does break to the upside, I do think the likeliness of us heading towards here is pretty high. So if we can just wait for that breakout, I think the trending opportunities, the break and retest opportunities afterwards make a lot of sense. And there would be some clear-cut trades. Trying to look for some break retest here, and it looks like it's playing out well now. But personally, I would wait for something like this. And yeah, just because we are in the middle doesn't mean no trade will play out. I'm just saying it's more difficult, probability is lower. You can expect more fluctuation there. That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah, in terms of Euro Swiss, that's really what I'll be waiting for. Unless, again, you want to just play the range lows and highs. Then let's say if we push to the lows again, I think that's still a sensible place for a buy. But that's my take on Euro Swiss. In terms of oil, oil's reacting off a really significant level. We've got a lot of resistance here, support there as well. It looks like price is reacting pretty bearish at that level. And I think the rejection looks well enough for an entry, to be honest. If you're looking for a nice swing trade on the 4-hour chart, I think that's a nice entry in itself from that previous bearish candle. Get some stops above the high. I think you're looking really good here. And I'm looking for a continuation all the way back down here. That would be my take there for oil. If, of course, price does decide to break back above the zone, that will invalidate the shorting opportunity. In fact, that would mean some longs will be looking good, because at that point, this to me would just be a big fake out. And once we're back above the support level, it will be acting as support again, hopefully. And I think that would be a great place to base a long trade from. And, of course, a push back to highs and maybe a push back to the highs over there as well. But yeah, at the moment, it's just what we do. Break and retest, or do we break back above? Well, it looks like we're breaking and retesting now. Looks like we're getting somewhat of a bearish engulfing candle on the daily chart. Although I wouldn't read too much into that because the day still has 10 hours left. But on a 4-hour perspective, we're looking pretty good. At least the push to the low here. But I do think we can go a lot further eventually. So oil, to me, looking really good. Looking really good for some shorts. Okay, we'll go take a look at gold for work hard. So gold, I want to be short and quick with this one because I don't have a lot to say for gold apart from we've got our range highs and range lows. Of course, people who have been in the stream a lot recently probably be sick and tired of me talking about gold because I'm going to say the same thing. But again, until things change, what I'm going to say is not going to change with it. Again, still looking to sell at the highs, buy at the lows. That's pretty self-explanatory. If we're trading a range, best place is always at the high, always at the low. In the middle is where the most noise will be. Not that, again, you won't be able to find opportunities. We talked about the break and retest here. Lovely bullish engulfing candle, often used on Friday. We did see a nice pullback of that and a nice continuation. intraday with that wick there. I wouldn't be looking to jump into any buys now. I do think we're quite stretched, so I would avoid that. But again, in terms of a swing bias, this is really where you want to wait for price to get. If we do start to trend higher, there could be some nice intraday pullbacks along the way, so keep an eye on that. But if you're looking for some swing trades, yeah, this is the best place for it. 34.40 and 32.60. But yeah, if we can pick up some momentum, there might be some nice pullbacks along the way. So hopefully that made sense. Salman, Mika, I'm doing good, thank you. Hope you were well as well. Thoughts on G, I'm currently looking at buys around 1.34667. I'm looking at price being too corrective. 1 hour candle close was strong one. I'm looking for a retest. I think I know what you're talking about. You're looking at potentially a swing like this here. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on that, but personally, I don't like price in this area. I'm waiting for us to clear the highs or clear the lows, and then I'm looking for opportunities once that happens. I don't mind it though. It's not that I don't think it's a good opportunity. We did see a nice strength. It's just because it's quite indecisive in here, so I'm staying away. But really strong candle close there, and I would say pullbacks afterwards look like is going to be the next outcome here. This looks really, really corrective, as you mentioned. I do think we can see a bit of a rally, and that could take us back to the highs there as well. And there's a bit of an area of demand below us around 1.342. So yeah, I think the buys make sense. Last hourly candle close was nice, of course, barring this one there. We still do have this corrective channel, so I would suggest maybe a strong break of that would really insist on the next swing, and then of course targeting the highs I think will make sense, and maybe back at resistance there around 1.36 will make a lot of sense as well. So I can see some upside there for pound. Looks like USD is reacting to resistance as well, so we might see some weakness on that part. But yeah, this makes sense. Strong impulse, corrective behavior. Now potentially the breakout could come into play. So it does make sense to me. Like I said, I'm waiting for the breakout opportunities because I think hopefully there'll be slightly simpler trades to take, but I can see the logic there as well. By the way, guys, we have approached the end of the stream. Hope you have found it useful and enjoyed it. I will be live again tomorrow, as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Hit the bell as well, and so share it with your friends as well. It does really help promote the channel. If you do want to support the channel further, there is the memberships you can join. There's some advantages, added perks, and only members exclusive videos there as well. So if you are interested, feel free to check it out. But guys, I did drop the Zenthrix community Telegram link at the top. I have pinned it as well, so you can't miss it. If you're interested to join the project, check it out. You can check out the Telegram and find more information there. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. As I said, I'll be live again tomorrow, so have a great day, and I hope to see you all there. But thank you for tuning in, and have a good one.
Introducing Zenthrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zenthrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zenthrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.